Okay, I know I said I was going to do an unscripted video of my thoughts on last night's movie that my brother and I saw, which was none other than Digimon Adventure Tri. But I was tired and shit, and I had to do a bit of errands for my mother. Yeah, and on top of that, I had some thoughts planning up for possibly for tomorrow for another video. It's a little more positive and encouragement, spreading awareness. You'll see what it is. But for now, I'm going to talk about my thoughts of Digimon Adventure Tri. And just like I said, this is going to be unscripted because I have a lot of minds coming out of my head from last night's experience. So, here we go. What do I think of the English version of Digimon Adventure Tri? It was amazing! Oh my god. It was man, I'm at a loss for words of Digimon Adventure Tri because believe it or not, it was the second anime that I've ever watched in my life. I remember a couple of months ago that I asked a question to Master TP from on Ask.fm, and he says that his 7-year-old self is happy to see Digimon Adventure Tri when it was out on Crunchyroll. Well, and I heard other people who talk about how their childhood is back in the Western world. Well, unlike most of these people, my inner childhood was not satisfied, even though that the animation was awesome, beautifully crafted. For the most part, I get to see the Digidestined grown up once again, and a new style of the Digimon characters. It was not enough to satisfy this inner child because, simply put, I grew up with Digimon. Unlike most people who apparently only watch them on Saturday mornings, I had fond memories of coming home every day after school from kindergarten to the second grade, seeing Digimon, the first 3 seasons of Digimon on Fox Kids. And therefore, I grew up with the English dub of casts and the music with that cheesy intro for all its glory. Okay, I'm going to talk about the positives and then going to the negatives. First, let's start the good stuff. The voice actors. Holy shit. Some of the voice actors were amazing, reprising the roles of... It was great to hear Mona Marshall, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Felice Sampler, and especially Joshua Seth voicing the Digidestins once again. Oh my god. Mona Marshall's Izzy has not changed one bit since Adventure 02. Yeah. Mimi's role sounds slightly a bit older, but I wasn't complaining because it was still Felice Sampler. Similar with Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Sora. She still sounds like Sora, just on a much more mature manner. As for Joshua Seth, do I need to describe more about his performance? His voice is what kills the nostalgia factor. He made Digimon Adventure Tri 10 times more awesome than it already was. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would not be as much excited and happy as I was last night. And speaking of last night, the experience was kind of weird. Because I was a little scared that there's not going to be much people who was going to see Digimon because Miss Rip-Off of Pokemon. Basically, when my brother and I entered the theater, there was literally just 2 or 3 people. But then, one by one, people were coming in inside the theaters with their snacks. I remember 2 people who were wearing the same Digimon t-shirt that I wore. And to one step further, a child came in with, I don't know if it's his sister, cousin, aunt, or mother. He got an Agumon backpack. I'm so jealous. I wish I had that Agumon backpack when I was a kid. In short, it was only half of the audience was kind of full, in contrast to going to the theaters with my brother and dad of seeing the two Dragon Ball Z movies that were shown in the same theater that I went to see Digimon. It was crowded. It was crowded for seeing Dragon Ball Z opposed to Digimon. Okay. Now, I rambled too long about the theater experience. I should have saved it for later. But the voice actors for the Digimon that has come back, it was an amazing experience for hearing voices like Kirk Thornton as Gobblemon and Jeff Nimoy as Tentamon. And hearing Agumon being voiced by basically it was fun to hear no, Tom Fan. My bad. Tom Fan to hear. It was great to hear Tom Fan as Agumon when that scene where Agumon and Tai reunite and hug each other like they're bros. It was like a nice little reunion to childhood. It was epic to see them digivolving with the voices. Now, for the new voice actors who came here to replace, it's only just a handful. It's a good thing that the majority of the cast reprised the roles. That not just the Digidestined or the Digimon himself, but the other characters as well, such as one actress who came in for now to voice, once again, Tai and Kari's mother. She's also the voice of Lilymon and Rosemon. So we'll wait for that in determination. The new voices? Okay, let's go from some of them. Vic Mignogna as Matt. Well, even though he sounded very similarly accurate-ish, like 96% of it. It still was not the same as Michael Reese as Matt. If Michael Reese been asked to voice Matt once again, it would have been awesome. It would have like a little sweet dose of it for the beefiness of between Matt and Tai from last night. Just a little more kick, you know. Let's see. Tara-san says Kari brought a little more sassier version of Kari. But you know, my inner child would have loved to hear Laura Jill Miller as Kari again. Even she herself wanted to hear and was just like the rest of us was bummed out to not voice as Kari again. For TK to be voiced by Johnny Ang Bosch, he was the one that had the least complaint about it. Maybe because in the first one he was voiced by Wendy Lee, and then later voiced Doug Airholes, which by the way, Doug Airholes voiced the teacher Daigo. For Johnny Ang Bosch as doing the performance in TK, I think he did pretty decent. Very decent. It's not the best, but he did a pretty decent job of TK. And the last one for Joe, for Joe, Robbie Damon, he was like, okay, I bet you your money that if had Michael Lindsay been asked to voice Joe once again, he would have masterly crafted Joe's paranoia of studying, just like he did in our war game. But you win some, you lose some. As for the other two Digimon who got voiced by, let's see, Gatomon being voiced by Kate Higgins, and Biomon voiced by Chiramile. Hope I pronounced that right. I didn't care for much of them, probably because they didn't have much lines to voice for the reunion. Maybe in the future, when we get to see their performance, we might hear them a little bit better. The other Digimon did their well. As for the newcomers, let's see, Christina V for Mako, I think she sounded pretty cute. Very cute. I like her performance. I can't wait to see more. As for Daigo, well, I don't know much about the two newcomers, the two adult characters who are in the Digimon Adventure Tri. I don't have much thoughts of them. Daigo performance, it was okay. That cunt Maki, she sounds a pretty bit young, and she's also voiced by Chiramile. So, I don't know. I don't trust that cunt, and neither should you guys. You'll see why if you guys have watched the ending of Determination. Spoilers. Alright, I got the performance out of the way. How's the dialogue? I guess 98% of the dialogue was closely similar to the scripts of the Japanese version. It was pretty similar. They kept faithful to the adaptation as opposed to putting some puns and gags, Saban style. There were some tweaks from here to there, such as no knife of ramen joke and Mimi saying Foxy when describing the looks of Tai and Matt being so sexy. I prefer her calling them sexy. I mean, come on. Matt said pissed in the Adventure Tri, so come on, let Mimi say sexy for it, please. Although, the one thing I was kind of bummed out is that I was bummed. The one thing I was bummed out for the English version of the dialogue is that they did not let the Digimon shouting out their attacks. Like, there was no electroshocker, no pepper breath, no nova blast, no meteor wings, none of that. The only time was when Togemon said needle spray, and that's only because she said it in a dialogue. That's it. That's the only attack name you'll hear. Sorry. And even in theaters, I tried so hard not to shout the name attacks in theaters. I kind of did the same thing when they were shouting the lines of when they digivolve. I can't help it. It's part of my childhood. I will always repeat what they were repeating. Okay, the next one is the music. I remember the Foxy Gamers saying that on the article that they're going to change some of the music that will fit for the English audience. Well, it doesn't seem like that was going to happen because they kept the Japanese English in there. They kept the Japanese music background for the English version, which was pretty neat. There was even some quiet moments in there. I was kind of surprised to hear Braveheart earlier that day before I went to theaters. So it was pretty neat. And they even kept the ending song for the remix version of I Wish, which kind of warms my heart. Now it's time for the elephant in the room. The new English intro for Digimon Adventure Tri. I said it once to my brother when I first heard it, and I say it again. It is garbage. I hated it when I first heard it, and I still hate it last night. I did not find it catchy. I did not find it appealing. I find it even more terrible than the English intro. Let's be honest. A lot of us Digimon fans would have been satisfied hearing that cheesy intro done by the late Paul Gordon. Heck, we would have been happier to hearing the remix version of Butterfly made by the late Koji Wada. Rest in peace, these two artists passed away this year. You will never forget. So yeah, the English version intro is the only thing that's pretty bad when trying to license and dub and localize coming here when they air it when they show it in theaters. And we really love it that they would show, if they cannot somehow put the cheesy intro in the movie, I would at least let them play the full song of Hey Digimon in the theater at least once, just a little bit of nostalgia in it. As for finally the last part is, it's not the bad one. It's basically, it's pretty iffy. I'll let you decide. So they were talking at the end. There was an advertisement from Crunchyroll where they give a shout out to the fans who talk about it. Many of them were saying that they watch it on Saturday mornings. How do they not know about weekday afternoon cartoons? I guess maybe because they had to catch the bus, and by the time they had to come home, there was goodbye Fox Kids, hello Married with Children. Yeah, that's what happened. I'll explain a little bit later. For now, I'll talk about what's happening in Crunchyroll. After they were giving a little bit of shout out to the fans from Crunchyroll, they give, in contrast to what I saw on YouTube, which the Japanese showed the fans 5 minutes of the preview for Confession, which in actuality it was only 3 minutes of the preview. I was surprised it was actually showing a 10-minute version. So if you guys have not seen Determination yet, so I suggest you skip to this number right here. So, spoilers. I feel so bad for that kid in theaters. I bet he didn't. I hope that one of his family members let him saw Determination prior to this. Otherwise, poor kid. Basically, what happened was, after Leomon was killed by Mekomon and Mekomon went bye-bye, it shows the airport being malfunctioned for a bit, and they had an emergency landing, and then later there was back to the school where a lot of students were cleaning up after the school festival. I couldn't understand what they were saying for the Japanese because they didn't have the English subtitles, but now I get to see it. The Japanese text is basically a recap from the first 2 chapters, Reunion and Determination. So, in this, what I can understand what's happening is that Mimi is getting compliments from her students after they talk shit behind her back, and they all wish that they would have taken Mimi's design, or was it either Mimi or Mimi's design of the cheerleader costume. And then she heard that there was some FBI investigators looking at that scenario where what happened to the portal to the digital world. She went there and she saw Mako. Poor Mako. She was distraught and she blamed herself for what happened to Mekomon, and Leomon. I think she was almost at the point of having an emotional breakdown. And then later, they went to go back to Izzy's office to find the cure. More Mako beating herself down, thanks to Izzy saying that it might have been the affected Digimon. Mimi was a little pissed off, naturally, of Izzy's brutal honesty about it, and then he's ruining his chance of getting laid with Mimi, saying, "We don't have time for trivial shits, Mimi. Trivial shits? What?" Oh, and I forgot to mention after the emergency landing, there was a little bit of chat between Daigo and Kunti-Maki. I don't know. I'm gonna keep an eye on you, Maki. What have you been doing behind the Digidestin's back? I hope he gets something worse for you. After the little bit of that, it just ended, and many of us decided to go home. Well, my brother and I just wait for us to see what our mama tells us where to go and when to go home. Yeah. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Overall, I had an amazing experience. I had an amazing experience watching Digimon in theaters. It was happy. My 5-year-old self is satisfied. Is satisfied and happy to hear all the English voice actors once again, especially Joshua Seth. Oh man, that was fantastic. Had the rest of the cast reprise their role to voice for the theaters, my 5-year-old self would have been jumping for joy, acting like a maniac, screaming for joy, like a kid high on sugar and other substance. Well, that's all I got to say. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't worry, Youngblood and Super Funny Bros. You'll see. You'll know. Don't worry, Super Funny Bros and Youngblood. You'll get yours videos next. Goodbye.